Hey guys, Fox here. I wanted to do something a little different this time around. Tired of doing a bunch of Game Got videos, so I need to change it up a bit, and I thought my personal top 10 PS1 games would be perfect. It's my all-time favorite system, so there's plenty of games on it. It was an RPG powerhouse, and I just can't get enough of the system. I unfortunately didn't get to adopt the system until a couple years after the system was released. I think I picked it up in late '98. It was roughly right after when Final Fantasy VII came out, which I think came out in '97, but I could be wrong. But anyway, that's just a wonderful system, and of course, me being an RPG fan, this has everything that I could ever want in a system. So anyways, let's start off here at number 10, and that is Final Fantasy Tactics. This is something I was watching my buddy's brother play, and he said, hey, it's a Final Fantasy game, and I was looking at it, I was like, this is grid-based, this isn't turn-based battles, and he was like, yeah, it's a strategy RPG. I was like, what? I was pretty surprised. Loved the character art, and one of the better strategy RPG battle systems out there. There's a reason why this game has been remade a couple of times and had plenty of sequels and spin-offs and stuff for it on the handheld systems particularly. So yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics at number 10. Number 9 is an RPG that came out early in the PlayStation's life. It's actually not that early. It came out a couple years actually. Sorry about that, but this is a great series from Capcom, and my favorite is number 2 in the series, but this is a close second to that game, and that's Breath of Fire 3. I love the Breath of Fire series, except for Dragon Quarter. Game didn't make a lot of sense, but 3 was just amazing. It just took what was great about 2 and just improved it. You had this beautiful 3D world with this, the same loving traditional turn-based battle system that you come to love from Breath of Fire. So I can't give this enough praise as far as it will not disappoint you as far as Breath of Fire games. I know a bunch of people who think this is their favorite Breath of Fire. I like 2 a little better, but this is great. So number 9, Breath of Fire 3. Okay, at number 8 is a game that came out pretty late in the PlayStation 1's life, around I think 2000. This is something I pre-ordered and picked up. Yeah, that was after that game. Sorry, random thoughts as I'm recording here. But anyways, let's just get to it. It's Final Fantasy IX. Yeah, I know, Greatest Hits Edition is still sealed. That's because I have a digital copy on my PSP, which can turn out to be on my PlayStation, any of my PlayStation devices, so that's usually where I play it. I need to get a black label, but that's alright. I still have a good copy here. I love this Final Fantasy. I like where it went back to pretty much very fantasy based. It wasn't futuristic. It didn't have the sci-fi type of vibe to it, or all the technology and stuff like that, but it's very traditional Final Fantasy. The story was great. The game was fairly long. I loved most of the characters, not all of them. Some of them I didn't really care for a whole lot, but I liked Princess Garnet or Dagger a lot, and the main character Zidane was very likable to me. And of course everybody's favorite is Vivi. But the game was long, it was challenging at times, and I really enjoyed it. It's a great RPG in the Final Fantasy series. So that's number 8, Final Fantasy IX. Number 7 is a game that I picked up upon somebody's recommendation when I was in high school working at a local Wendy's, and he was like, "You need to pick this game up." I was like, "What game?" He's like, "This one, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete." I was like, "What's Lunar?" He's like, "It's a remake, man, of a game back on the Sega CD." I was like, "They had good games on the Sega CD." I didn't know a whole lot about the Sega CD back then. But yeah, so on his recommendation, I went over there to the local GameStop. I think it was an EB Games, and picked up Lunar. And man, was I in for a surprise. This game was just so beautiful, vibrant, great colors, an amazing story of, great adventure, good love story, and everything. Not to mention, this was probably my first working designs game. And just picking up this box and was realizing, like, wow, put a lot of work into this, and it came with the hardbound art book with a little mini walkthrough guide in it, a cloth map, a soundtrack, making of CD and everything. I was impressed and loved the characters, loved the art style, and yeah, you want something with a great story but it's not very long, Lunar's where it's at. So yeah, number 7, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. Number 6 is something I played because I borrowed it from a friend, as I have played the first game in the series way back when I was a kid. But Castlevania Symphony of the Night was something that just blew me away. He was like, it was around Halloween time, and I was like, "Hey man, I want to play a good Halloween game." He's like, he gave me this. He was like, "You need to play through this. You're gonna love it. You love RPGs, but this is like Castlevania RPG." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you run around with the main guy. We didn't know who he was called, Simon Belmont or whatever. I don't remember. Sorry guys, I'm not the hugest guy for Castlevania." But yeah, he's like, you run around and you level up and you equip different weapons and items and, use different special moves and all that stuff. I was like, in Castlevania? Yep. He's like, and you go around into the castle, right? And kill all the zombies and skeletons and werewolves and all that shit. And he was like, sure do. It's like, well, I'm there. Played it. This game was amazing. I love the animation throughout the game, the fluidity of how he had this, like he would, what's that, like kind of like a motion blur when he was moving around, his cape would leave like a trail and stuff like that. And it's just little things like that that I thought this game was amazing. And, coming off of a big love of Super Metroid and seeing how I could just map out a huge castle and explore it and everything while leveling up a character is just amazing. Anyways, guys, number 6, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Number 5 is a game that I played for the first time actually relatively recently, about a year and a half ago. I couldn't find the game. It's fairly rare and demands a high price until just so many people praised it so much. I bit the bullet back then and just shelled out the cash for it just so I could play it, and I have to tell you, it was definitely worth it. That's Suikoden 2 or Suikoden 2, however you want to pronounce it. This series is amazing, and I hope one day Konami brings it back. But this is the best in the series in my mind. Granted, that being said, I have not played 5. I don't own 5, that's the problem. But anyways, out of the ones I've played, this is the best one. This is such an amazing story. Probably one of the best in all of the PlayStation 1 RPG libraries. The battle system's quite fun. You have so many characters to choose from to put in a party. You build up your town and you fill it full of people and stuff like that, and then you advance in the story and experience such an amazing story, guys. I can't just talk more about the story in this game. So yeah, number 5, Suikoden 2. Number 4, this game really doesn't need to, I don't need to say much at all about it. You guys know plenty about it, so I'm not going to really talk a whole bunch about it, besides the fact that this was the first game I bought with my PlayStation, and that's Final Fantasy VII. Yep. It's been talked about a lot, so yeah. So guys, number 4, Final Fantasy VII. Number 3 is a game I played a lot. I know it's got a love-hate relationship with a lot of people. Some people don't like it. A lot of people love it. A lot of people were praying for a sequel for it. Anyway, so that is Legend of Dragoon. What a fantastic game. Really long, amazing cinematics, great story. I thought the combat system was a lot of fun. Some people found it annoying and repetitive, but not me. I enjoyed it. I'm glad it had a little skill into it, you know, where you had the little squares, you know, circling the square, and you'd have to tap the buttons at a certain time to get, you know, better attacks and stuff like that. Changing into the Dragoons, the huge world. Oh man, I remember when I was first playing, well actually it was my second playthrough, I would have 2 memory cards and I would save the game on a new file before every cinematic in this game, so I could go back and just watch the cinematics. I thought they were that amazing. The game doesn't hold up quite as well now compared to, you know, when you were first playing it back in I think it was late 90s, might have been 2000. I think it was 2000. But yeah. So, yeah guys, number 3, The Legend of Dragoon. Number 2 is a game that I've kind of experienced almost by accident. I'm not going to say that because pretty much, you know, the old official PlayStation magazine that used to come out in the day, and it would have a demo disc in it, you know, where you could play a couple demos, and it also had videos for upcoming games. And one of those games was The Legend of Legaia. And I saw the video in it, and I was like, huh, I like the simplistic artwork on this. And then it showed off the battle system, and I was like, whoa, that's different. And so I was like, oh, I gotta pick this one up. I picked it up, and wow, this game really surprised me. It was incredibly fun. I loved the music in the game, and the battle system was just amazing. Experiencing all those new arts or moves that you can do in the game was just a lot of fun. The game is fairly difficult, and unless you know, of course you can grind up and make it a little easier, but the game is fairly difficult. It was like, it's kind of like a mix of a fighter with the RPG. So, you know, you entered in your moves, and then they would perform those moves in a turn-based type system. So, you know, the story is not fantastic, but it's enjoyable. So it's just, this game is really strong in my heart, and I love it a lot. I replay this game quite often. So, number 2, Legend of Legaia. Alright, number 1. Those of you who've been watching my channel for long enough probably know what this game is. But this is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. And this is a game that I actually bought on a whim while I was just roaming around a Best Buy looking for a game to buy. I had no idea what this was, and then I saw this. Grandia. I was looking at the cover, I was like, well, this is an interesting cover. You know, it's not your typical RPG cover with, you know, a bunch of the characters' heads on it, or it didn't say Final Fantasy or anything like that. And I turned it over. And there you go. There's Justin. I was like, oh, there's some interesting looking battles here. You know, that looks cool. So, you know, I was like, well, I need a game to play, so I bought it and took it home, popped it in, and boom, fell in love. The characters are all so likable in this game. I mean, even the one that you would typically find annoying, there's just some type of charm to them. This game's story was so well done, you know, with the great character development, and I don't know, guys, I just can't give this game enough praise, and I just got to tell you that if you haven't played this, you have to give this a go. It may not be your favorite RPG, it may not live up to the expectations that I'm setting for it for some people, but for me, this is just one of the best games you can play. Number 1, Grandia. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this top 10 list. I had a lot of fun making it, and great system. PlayStation 1 RPG powerhouse, and all those games in that top 10 are must plays in my mind. Alright guys, thanks for watching.